Finally back with the live show. I had a live show planned yesterday. Well, two actually, but Wi-Fi went out and it took me hours to upload a regular video, and it's impossible to do a live show without Wi-Fi. I used to try to do it. You can ask the people that have been here for a while. Live shows, when I didn't have Wi-Fi, not good at all. Talk about buffering. So it's been a long couple of days. And today we had freaking severe weather. Yeah, there was tornado warnings all around us. It was crazy stuff. In fact, let me double check that and make sure we're good on. Yeah, it looks like we're good on weather now. Man, it's been a crazy couple of days, guys. What about y'all? How's it been going for y'all? Hopefully not as hectic as mine. I'm not a fan of drama, and I'm not a fan of stress. Some people like it, and I don't understand those people that like it. I do not. Please skip the drama, skip the stress, and normal days. That's all I ask for. All right, I'm done whining, guys. I promise. No more whining by going to Bluetooth. College football, guys. Super excited. I am super excited. Week by week, as it gets closer and closer, I get happier and happier and more excited about it. And the great thing is, it comes into focus more and more because you never know what's going to happen between now and the start of college football. Now, we know the transfer portal. Nobody can enter the transfer portal as of right now. But, the guys that are in the transfer portal, there's some guys, there's some nice names out there that haven't decided where they're going to go. We just found out a couple days ago that Jordan Addison is, in fact, going to USC. We all knew that. We all knew that was going to happen. We knew it. The rumors were true. Pretty sure the $3 million figure, that was true as well. And we can get mad at that all we want, okay? Or, that's not fair. USC has all that money. That's tampering. We get mad like Pat Narduzzi. That's tampering. You can get mad like Golden Blue Dude. That's tampering with Mesidor. Yeah, I got mad. I'll admit that. Bottom line is, they're not breaking the rules because there are no rules now. So here's the thing, guys. No matter what team you're a fan of, they have to figure out how to navigate this NIL thing until there's actual rules put in place. Because right now, anything goes. Pay for play? Sure, why not? $3 million? No sweat. Buy a new Ferrari? Yeah, sounds good to me. There's no rules right now, okay? And we can whine about it. We can bitch and moan about it. We can complain. That's not going to do anything. All right? So, best thing we can do right now is hope that our team gets it together and comes up with a committee or a front, whatever you want to call it, to get some NIL revenue coming in, because that's the only way your team, my team, anybody's team is going to have decent players these days. Money talks, and paying players is legal right now, okay? So it's just something that we all have to deal with. All right, so I'm going to do what I always do at the beginning of the show. If you haven't, please hit the like button. Very, very important. I go over and watch live shows a lot, and I'm like, why did they not stress hitting the like button? It is very important to grow this video. You hit the like button, it hits the YouTube algorithm. When the video hits the YouTube algorithm, it gets suggested more, pops up in front of more people's faces. They click on it, and boom, the audience grows. And if you stick around for the entire live show, you can see your work pay off. Those of you that have been to many, many of my live shows know that it works. You see it build and build, and you're like, hey, I know that was me. So whenever the show grows, not only did you hit the like button, you know that that was a product of your work. And I don't know if you're like me, but I'm the type of person that whenever I do something, whenever I put the work into something and I see the results, it makes me feel good. I don't understand people that like things handed to them like that. I mean, I guess that's nice, but there's no sense of accomplishment. When you put the work in and you see results from the work you've put in, the sense of accomplishment is, it's a great thing. It's one thing my dad taught me, and that's work work ethic, and work ethic is a real thing, and it makes you feel good about yourself. You know that you're putting in the work, and you know that the results prove it, and it makes you want to work more to get better results. So that's what we do around here at Golden Blue Dude, and you guys are good at it, by the way. I want to give you guys a hand. You guys are good at it. You do it every show, and show grows every time, so I appreciate it. Anyways, college football on the way. We're still in that gap to where we think we know who's going to be good, who's not going to be good, who could be the surprise team, who could be the team that takes a big step backwards. But we're still in that gap to where things can change. Players can, choose teams that we weren't expecting. Players in the transfer portal. There's still some good players in the transfer portal that hasn't chose a team. So we're waiting on those players. But for the most part, we can kind of get a gut feeling on, what might happen this college football season. Now, whenever I do my videos every day, I'm a member of a ton of Facebook groups. That's how I promote my videos, right? So whenever I do an SEC videos, I promote that to all my SEC Facebook groups and so on and so forth. And of course, yesterday I did my first preview prediction video, and it was on the SEC East, specifically the upper half of the SEC East. And just like last year, same exact thing happened. Golden Blue Dude, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Georgia's going to dominate. No problem. Blah, blah, blah. That's not what's going to happen this year in the SEC East, guys. And I'm not saying that Georgia's not going to win the SEC East. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's going to be a lot closer. The SEC East is going to be a much closer race this year. Okay? So the video that I put out, the scenario that seems very, very plausible, would have South Carolina winning the SEC East by a tiebreaker. I know that doesn't sound rational. It doesn't sound logical. High probability, probably not. Same thing was said last year when I predicted a 5-6 Kentucky to take a tremendous jump and finish second in the SEC East. Got laughed at for that. Same thing happened when I predicted Florida, who was a perennial second place team in the SEC East. I predicted Florida to fall at least 3 spots. Got laughed at for that too. And I got laughed at for predicting South Carolina to upset Auburn and back their way into a bowl. Got laughed at for that as well. And last year, actually, I said that Georgia was going to have a historically great team go 14-1 and win the national championship. I was super high on Georgia, just like everybody else. One by one, everything happened. Of course, I was wrong about who Georgia was going to lose to. I had Georgia losing to Clemson. I didn't think that they were ready to win on that big of a stage. I knew they had the talent, but I thought they would build and build and build throughout the season. Turns out they were ready right out of the gates. Offense, maybe not so much. Kind of struggled a little bit against that Clemson defense. But Georgia's defense, we saw right out of the gate, was for real. So I missed who Georgia was going to lose to. I predicted they were going to lose to Clemson, and they ended up losing to Alabama in the national championship. But 14-1, national champs. It happened. That prediction wasn't very far out there. Pretty much everybody was predicting that. That's why I threw the other stuff in there. Kentucky, I predicted Kentucky to finish second in the SEC East. And hindsight 2020, oh, yeah, duh. I mean, everybody knew that Kentucky was going to be good. No, that's not the case at all. Kentucky was coming off a losing season, 5-6. Nobody was calling Kentucky up to second place. Well, there was a couple of people, and I actually had conversations with them, and we pretty much agreed on why that was going to happen. But for the most part, I would say 90% of people were saying Florida is going to finish second in the SEC East last year. I'm like, nope, not going to happen. They lost pretty much their entire offense, and that was the only thing that was good about Florida in 2020, their offense, and they lost their offense. They were not going to be good. So I actually didn't understand people that were predicting Florida to finish second again. I'm like, did you not watch the bowl game? That's going to be your offense, because pretty much their starting offense decided to sit that bowl out. This is the same scenario as Georgia, okay? Let's compare, okay? So the reason I predicted Florida to fall from second and to fall at least 3 spots, which they did, was because they were losing pretty much their entire offense. What was the good thing about Florida that year? Their offense. Their defense wasn't good. So my prediction was based on losing all that offensive talent. All right? So the comparison here is Georgia. What was great about Georgia last year? Their defense. And just like Florida, Georgia recruits at a high level. They're going to have athletes. They're going to have talent. I'm not predicting Georgia to fall off a cliff like I did Florida. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is the SEC East race is going to be closer because only 4 starters from that Georgia defense, historically great Georgia defense, the defense that won the national championship for Georgia, is coming back. 4 starters. Okay? I think Georgia's going to have a good offense. Not elite, not an offense that's going to steamroll everybody. A good offense. Georgia's going to have a good enough offense to not lose a game. But they're not going to have a good enough offense to win a game. If the game is on the line and it comes down to Georgia's offense, they're not going to win. Okay? If the game is on the line and it comes down to they're ahead, don't make a mistake offense, they'll win that game. But see, the defense is going to take a massive step back this year. So they're going to have more games this year that's going to rely on that offense. And that's why I think they're going to take a step back this year. I think Georgia's a 10-2 team. And if you really think about it, that's not a massive step backwards as far as record goes. Their defense is not going to be elite like it was last year. It's not. If you think that Georgia's defense is going to be elite like it was last year, you don't know college football. I'm sorry, you don't. And is me predicting Georgia to be 10-2 saying they're going to be bad? No, it's not. 10-2 is really, really good. It's just not elite like it was last year. And if you look in the past, excluding Alabama and Clemson, maybe Ohio State, teams that usually don't win a national championship and they come out of the blue, or maybe they're competitive a lot, but they just can't get to the championship and win it. The next year, what happens? They fall off. I mean, look at LSU from 2019. Look at Florida State from 2013. Look at Auburn from 2010. All those teams couldn't get back. And that's not saying that they weren't good the next year. I'm predicting Georgia to be good this year, just not elite. I'm getting called crazy for all this stuff. And the biggest thing that I'm getting called crazy for is South Carolina. Yeah, I'm getting roasted for South Carolina, and that's fine. Bring it on. Come on. I have so many bets for that Georgia-South Carolina game. I could probably go on a second vacation whenever I win. I'm going to win that. I'm telling you, South Carolina's going to beat Georgia. So why am I so confident about that? It's not just a guess. There's actual reasons why I think South Carolina will beat Georgia. Actual reasons, not just, it's in Columbia, it's a feel-good story, I'm going to pick South Carolina. No, there's actual reasons, all right? So I already explained Georgia. Only 4 of those starters from that stellar defense is going to be back. So the defense will take a step back. Sorry, Georgia fans, it's going to happen. Your defense will take a step back. What was South Carolina's weakness last year? It was their offense. They actually had a pretty decent defense. It was in the top 40, and their secondary was amazing, and they get pretty much their entire secondary back. So South Carolina's defense is going to be at least as good as what it was last year. So the focus is on their offense. Can they get better on offense? Yeah, I think they will be much better on offense. Spencer Rattler is going to have 5 starters on that offensive line coming back. And the biggest pushback that I'm getting is Spencer Rattler looked bad last year. Spencer Rattler is trash. Spencer Rattler is a bad quarterback. You don't look, I watched Oklahoma football as many times as I could last year. I didn't catch every game, but I got probably 7, maybe 8 Oklahoma games on TV. The problem with Spencer Rattler wasn't Spencer Rattler. The problem with Spencer Rattler was Oklahoma's offensive line. And Caleb Williams had the same issues. So his biggest issue as far as Spencer Rattler goes, last year at Oklahoma, that offensive line could not hold blocks. Quarterback protection was bad. If you look at Spencer Rattler's actual passing, 75% completion rating. That's not bad, guys. 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I mean, 5 interceptions, that's not like amazing, but it's not like horrific. And when you're getting pressured like that, then you're going to throw some picks. His biggest issue was getting sacked. Spencer Rattler's biggest issue last year at Oklahoma was getting sacked. All right? Well, look at Caleb Williams. He had the same offensive line as Spencer Rattler. Yeah, and same stuff happened to him. His completion percentage was 64%. And he threw 1 less interception, 4 interceptions. So I'm not saying what everybody's saying, Spencer Rattler's trash and Caleb Williams shined with the same offensive line that Spencer Rattler had. Caleb Williams shined with the same offensive line that Spencer Rattler had. That is false, guys. That it's false. I'm sorry. That's false. Incorrect. Not true. Look at Spencer Rattler 2020. He did amazing. Spencer Rattler 2021 struggled, and it was sacks. It wasn't his passing. It was his legs. If you look at what he did on the ground, he only averaged, I don't think he averaged even 2 yards a carry, and that was his biggest hiccup, his legs and getting sacked, and it was because of the offensive line. If you look at Caleb Williams, he did better with his legs. I can admit that, but if you're going passer versus passer, Spencer Rattler was actually better. Same offensive line. It was just maybe, and you got to realize this, okay? Spencer Rattler had the offensive line earlier in the season as well. Caleb Williams had that offensive line later in the season. So maybe the offensive line was actually getting a little bit better later in the season, and they could hold blocks a little bit longer, and Caleb Williams could take off on his feet because Caleb Williams didn't get sacked as much as Spencer Rattler. And that was the big difference. And that's why people were saying, oh, Spencer Rattler trash, Caleb Williams was magnificent. No, that's false. That's false. You have to look at context. When you're judging the performance of a player, especially head-to-head, like if you're comparing this player to this player, you have to look at context and everything around it. Not just, Caleb Williams was a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler. Based on what? You're not telling me anything. If you're going by actual passing, then you're actually wrong. Spencer Rattler had a better completion percentage. If you're going by rushing, then yeah, Caleb Williams. But at the same time, Caleb Williams benefited from an offensive line that had already played half a season. So maybe they were a little bit better with their blocking, and so that made him, by default, better with his legs. There's a lot of things you have to, like, people like to throw out blanket statements. Like I just said, Caleb Williams is a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler. That's a blanket statement, and you're telling me nothing. You're just telling me your opinion. There's no facts behind it. You're not telling me why. You're not giving me a comparison. You're just giving me a blanket statement, your opinion, which is fine, but it doesn't prove anything. So Spencer Rattler is going to be a massive difference at South Carolina. South Carolina went 7-6, made a bowl, and beat North Carolina with the 104th best offense in the nation. What? That is terrible. That's like 26 spots out of last place. 26 spots out of last place. South Carolina was able to go 7-6, beat Auburn at home to get to a bowl, and then beat North Carolina, who was a decent team, have a winning record with the 104th best offense. That's insane. So you're getting Spencer Rattler. Even if the offense is like the 70th best offense, that's not great. That's still 40 spots, 35, 40 spots better than last year. That's going to be a massive improvement. And I don't think South Carolina's offense is going to be in the 70s. I would say more like 40s and 50s with a 30s or 40s offense. Could be even higher. I'm gonna settle right in the middle and say around 40th, which isn't elite, but it's much better than 104th, and that'll buy you 2 or 3 wins. I think South Carolina is definitely an 8-4, possibly a 9-3 season. I do think they will upset Georgia in that third game. It's in Columbia. Their offense is going to be much better. Georgia's defense lost pretty much everybody. It's not going to look remotely the same as it was last year. The SEC East is going to be an actual grind. Last year was not a grind for Georgia at all. They coasted through the regular season. Nobody could touch them. This year, it's going to be a grind. And I think South Carolina will be good enough on offense to beat Georgia because that defense is not going to be elite like it was last year. So, along with Spencer Rattler, they also got the stellar tight end Austin Stogner from Oklahoma. This guy is good. Now, his numbers were down last year, but it was because Spencer Rattler was pulled. The biggest connection was Rattler to Stogner. If you looked at Stogner's stats from 2020, one of the best tight ends in the nation. Last year, his numbers dipped because he's a Spencer Rattler guy. Well, Spencer Rattler comes to South Carolina. Austin Stogner coming with him because they have that connection. So look out for that Spencer Rattler, Austin Stogner connection because it's going to be one of the better quarterback tight end. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at my notes real quick. Trust me, I'm not Mark Rogers. I haven't memorized everything about college football ever, so I write things down. And I don't like getting things wrong, especially on a live show because you can't edit it out. So, like I said earlier, South Carolina, the 104th best offense. Well, that's actually like the 27th worst offense, averaging 22.6 points per game, and they still went 7-6. That's crazy. Why? Because they had a pretty decent defense that allowed 24 points per game, which was 46th. That's not an elite defense, but good enough defense to get them to a bowl. And I think that defense this year is going to be just as good, if not better. So I would say probably between the 35th and 45th best. So right there, lower 30s, upper 40s. That's a pretty good defense. And the offense, I think the offense is going to be light years better. Because on top of that, they also got the transfer from Wake Forest, their leading running back. South Carolina's going to have a running game this year. They got running back Christian Beal-Smith. Nobody's talking about that transfer either. Everybody's focused on Spencer Rattler and the false narrative that he's a bad quarterback. And you're letting that brainwash you into your opinion of South Carolina. Number one, Spencer Rattler is a good quarterback. Number two, you're forgetting about Austin Stogner. He's coming with Spencer Rattler. And they got running back Christian Beal-Smith from Wake Forest, the leading running back for Wake Forest. They're going to have a good offense, guys. The depth is there at at running back. They have multiple running backs that average 5 yards a carry. I think 3 is what I counted. Their 2 best wide receivers are coming back in Bell and Van. So he's going to have great targets along with Austin Stogner. So what's the jump for their offense? How much more points per game is South Carolina going to average this year? Well, from 22.6, it's at least going to be 30 points per game, which isn't an elite offense. But if you could score 30 points per game and your defense can hold opponents to 25 or less, that's a great season. You're looking at 8-4 or 9-3. Just a few matchups that might throw you off to give you some losses. For instance, that first road trip to Arkansas, that's going to be a loss for South Carolina. That's not a good matchup for them, and it's on the road. So that's going to be a loss. I don't like the matchup on the road against Kentucky. If that was a home game, I might swing that in favor of South Carolina, but that's on the road. And then, of course, the last game at Clemson. They're still not at Clemson's level yet. That's a great rivalry. And to be honest with you, right now, Clemson is in South Carolina's head. So you're not going to win that. I think South Carolina is more than capable of going 9-3. I 100% believe that South Carolina will upset Georgia in Columbia, or I wouldn't be laying money on it. Not asking for points. I'm talking about betting on it straight up, not asking for points. And I think they're going to beat Texas A&M in Columbia as well. Golden Blue, dude, they've never beaten Texas A&M. That's true. You are correct. But Texas A&M has no idea who their quarterback's going to be. And Jimbo Fisher has always had issues figuring out, how to develop a quarterback. Texas A&M does not have a good offense. Honestly, Texas A&M hasn't had – I take that back. They had a decent offense in 2020. But ever since someone left, their offense is not good. Defense has gotten much better under Jimbo Fisher. Offense, no, it's not there. If you look, even look at the recruiting. Texas A&M is averaging top 5 class, going 8-4 last year. That's bad coaching who can't develop a quarterback. Okay? So I think South Carolina's offense is going to be better, straight up better than Texas A&M, no question. And then the defense will be comparable. Even if Texas A&M defense is a little bit better, it's still comparable, and it's at Williams-Brice Stadium. South Carolina's going to beat Texas A&M, guys. All right? Quick reminder, I've already said this to the people that joined the show at the beginning. Please hit the like button. Very important. It hits the YouTube algorithm. It gets the video suggested more, and more people come in. And those of you that hit the like button at the beginning of the show, you can tell the other people, hey, it works, because look, we're in the 40s now. So everybody that's new to the live show, you just joined, or you just joined a little bit ago, hit the like button. It definitely helps the video. And you can ask the people earlier. It's already growing now, and you'll see the product of your work. So that's another thing I was talking about earlier. Work ethic and seeing the results of what you do. The more you do, the better results you're going to see. Same thing with my YouTube channel. Like, I'm not the greatest speaker in the world. I'm not the most entertaining person in the world, but I work hard. I've put in a lot of work into this YouTube channel, and we're coming up on 3 years in August, and we're at 6,500 subscribers. Like, that blows my mind. Like, I'm not a talented speaker, or, I don't know. I don't consider myself one of the best YouTubers out there, or one of the best sports analysts out there. So I try to make up for it with hard work. And for whatever reason, you guys like me, and the hard work is paying off. So that's the point that I've been trying to get across, as far as hitting the like button and seeing the results of your hard work. I'm seeing the results of my hard work, 6,500 subs. I'm blown away by you guys. There's no Golden Blue Dude without y'all watching and hitting the subscribe button. Anyways, I got off. I kind of rabbit trailed on that one. Anyways, so yeah, I think South Carolina's going to be a much better team. Spencer Rattler, light years better quarterback than what they had last year in Doty. Bless his heart, Doty he gave it his all. He's just not a very good quarterback. I'm not saying Doty was a terrible quarterback, but no, I wouldn't even say average. Slightly below average. And Spencer Rattler is definitely above average. Maybe not elite, but close, above average. So you're going from below average to above average. You're going from below average running back to elite running back. You're going from average tight ends to an elite tight end in Stogner, and you'll have experience at the wide receiver position. Now, would Georgia have a good offense? Yep, they're going to have a pretty good offense. Stetson Bennett is good enough to not lose a game if the game's on the line. Like, let's say Georgia's ahead and they need Stetson Bennett to not blow it. He's good enough to not blow it, but he's not good enough to put the game on his shoulders and win a game for you. Not good enough for that. Georgia has the better tight ends. I will say that. Brock Bowers, Eric Gilbert, they're loaded at tight end. Definitely. But South Carolina has the linebackers to match up with the tight ends. And another thing is Georgia has to keep those wide receivers and tight ends healthy. What? Georgia fans, I got a question for you. All the Georgia fans in the chat. I got a question. Why does Georgia have injuries year after year? I mean, I'm talking a lot of injuries. Even Tyke Smith, y'all got him from us. The transfer portal, went to Georgia. He was our best safety, arguably the best safety in the nation in 2020. He goes over to Georgia and gets injured. Same thing with your wide receivers, Blaylock, Burton. They all got injured last year. At one time, Gilbert was injured. Georgia has got to figure out how to keep their offensive players healthy. I don't know if it's a practice thing. I don't know if it's a conditioning thing. I don't know if it's – I don't know. Are they working them too hard? Are they not giving them enough breaks? Are they not hydrating enough? I don't know. I don't keep up with Georgia as far as the offseason and the practices and the spring game and all that stuff. But what I do keep up with, well, I don't keep up with it, but I notice it, is injuries pile up on Georgia every stinking year. Every year. What is going on at Athens? Now, last year, your defense was so talented, so good, so ready for a national championship that all those injuries didn't matter. This year, it will matter because your defense is not going to be like that. And I'm not saying Georgia's going to have a bad defense. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're not going to have the defense that you had last year. It's not going to be elite. It's going to be good, but it's not going to be elite. You're going to have to actually score points this year to win games. Last year, your defense held people to under 10 points a game. The only reason that average is over 10 points, I think it's like 10.8, is because whatever happened in Atlanta against Alabama, it looked like the defense. Look, I'm just going to say it like it is. It looked like that defense just wasn't trying against Alabama. I mean, they got no pressure. They looked lazy. Zero sacks on Bryce Young. I don't know what was going on in the SEC championship, but that did not look right at all. Okay, so besides that game, which Alabama scored over 40 points, if you take that game out, Georgia didn't allow their opponents to get to 10 points. They just didn't, or rarely did. So that means all your offense has to do is score a couple of touchdowns, maybe tack on a field goal for insurance, 17 points. Boom, you got to win. Now, the offense was better than that. They were able to score points on opponents. But when you don't have the pressure of having to win a game on offense, you can let loose and have fun. And that's what we saw with Georgia last year. Their defense was so good that their offense was just out there having fun. Having fun. They were just out there having fun, and they got in rhythm. Stetson Bennett got better and better throughout the year, but this year they're going to have actual pressure, and I think it's going to affect them. And I think they're going to grab a couple of losses in the regular season. I mean, that's not like a huge step backwards, but it will be noticeable. And The other side, the other part of the equation that people are leaving out is South Carolina is going to be better, Tennessee is going to be better, and Kentucky is going to be better. So you have Georgia taking a step back, especially on their defense. Their offense might actually not take a step back. It might be as good as what it was last year. Problem is, they're going to have pressure on them this year, and I'm not sure how Saban is going to handle that, especially on the road. And then on top of that, you have Tennessee, South Carolina, and Kentucky going to be much better. Wouldn't really worry about Florida or Missouri. Missouri might be a sneaky 7-5, 8-4 team. They're not going to be horrible, but I don't think they're good enough to challenge Georgia. I do think Tennessee is good enough to challenge Georgia. South Carolina, definitely. That's why I have that upset marked down for sure, not backing off. And Kentucky is good enough to possibly upset, which I don't think it happens, though. I think South Carolina is the team to look for as far as upsetting Georgia. What was the other loss I had? Oh, yeah, the road trip to Kentucky. I was thinking that was a home game for whatever reason. It's a road trip. It's at the end of the year. That also could be a loss. But even if that turns out to not be a loss, I actually have more confidence in South Carolina beating Georgia than I do Kentucky this year. But we'll see how it turns out. I just think South Carolina's going to be a much better team than what they were last year, and Georgia's going to take a step back. And if the scenario that I laid out in my video yesterday unfolds, which is very plausible, and that scenario is this: Tennessee goes 9-3 with a loss to, what was it? Who did I have them losing to? I had them losing to LSU or Alabama. It could be both because that's a road trip to LSU, so that could be 2 losses. So they could actually be 8-4. So depending on those 2 games, the other 2 losses were at Georgia and at South Carolina. So Tennessee's either an 8-4 or a 9-3 team, and that would land them in either 3rd or 4th place. For Kentucky, I have them going 9-3 again. I have them losing early in the season on the road to Florida, not because I think Florida is going to be a great team. It's the recipe for the game. You have to look at everything. This is an early season game. Florida's going to be hyped up. That crowd's going to be hyped up. They're going to think they're better than what they are. And the atmosphere and Florida being halfway decent will be good enough to get a win over Kentucky. After that, road trip to Ole Miss. And I saw a few Kentucky fans in the comments section of that video that I made saying Kentucky's going to go on the road and beat Ole Miss. That's one thing that I'm very, very sure about. Kentucky is not going to go on the road to beat Ole Miss. That is not happening. In fact, I think Ole Miss will beat Kentucky by at least 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns. I'm seeing a couple people say, "Hey, Chris, did I miss something?" Did I miss? I'm trying to figure out. Did I miss something? Because I think I saw like 3 people say, "Hey, Chris," trying to get my attention. Maybe it was somebody else. Anyways, if it's something, y'all let me know. Okay. So for Kentucky at Ole Miss, and I think the road trip to Tennessee is going to be a little bit too much for Kentucky. So I think Kentucky goes 9-3 with losses to Tennessee and what was it? Hold on. With losses to Tennessee on the road, Ole Miss on the road, and Florida on the road. And I think Kentucky beats Georgia at home late in the year. So they're looking at 9-3. And then finally, it'll come down to South Carolina and Georgia. I think South Carolina is going to end up with a better record, 10-2 versus what I think 9-3. Problem is, one of the losses for South Carolina is going to be out of conference in Clemson, so that's not going to count. So what it could come down to, plausible, is Georgia's 2 losses at South Carolina and at Kentucky. 2 SEC East losses, both on the road. Both are going to be tough environments. both of those two teams going to be much better. And then South Carolina's 2 losses in the SEC will be at Arkansas and at Kentucky. So, yes, I think South Carolina loses to Kentucky on the road. So, you'd have 2 SEC teams with 2 SEC losses. So, even though Georgia has a better record, 10-2 versus South Carolina's 9-3, their SEC records would be identical. Both have 2 SEC losses, and South Carolina would have the tiebreaker with the win over Georgia. Now, having said that, if South Carolina picks up another loss, say against, I don't know, Florida on the road, or they don't beat Texas A&M at home, and they go 8-4 with 3 losses in the SEC, even though they beat Georgia, they're going to finish behind Georgia and probably behind Tennessee as well. They'd still finish above Kentucky, but that would be 3rd place. So a lot hinges on the home game against Texas A&M and probably the road trip to Florida. Maybe even the home game against Tennessee, because Tennessee is going to be better as well. So there's a lot of nip and tuck type of things where one little thing goes wrong and the complete picture shifts. So I'm sticking with this scenario because I like it. I like South Carolina's road trips. Losing to Arkansas and Kentucky, I think Florida is going to be just bad enough, and it's later in the year. It's not like Kentucky where they're getting them at the beginning of the year and everybody's still hyped. It's going to be a packed out swamp, so the atmosphere is going to be amazing. Whereas in South Carolina is going to get Florida towards the end of the year, 3rd game to last, and that's after Florida picks up several losses. Swamp's half empty. No atmosphere. It'll be easier to go on the road to beat Florida. That's why I have Kentucky losing to Florida and South Carolina not losing to Florida. It's all about when they play Florida. Both on the road, Kentucky at the beginning, South Carolina at the end. And then, of course, Texas A&M at home. I just don't think Texas A&M is going to have a good offense. I just don't. That's just me, and I think that's going to be a massive, massive difference. Let's switch gears real quick. I want to talk about something that I love talking about because it's just. Give me 1 second, guys. It's awesome to talk about, especially when they're down. And that is Texas. I saw a comment earlier in the live stream saying, "Hey, let's just talk about how bad Texas is." Well, let's see. I don't want to throw them under the bus right off the bat because I think Texas could possibly be a bowl team this year. But let's see. Let's go through the schedule, and if their record's bad, then we will throw them under the bus after we talk about the schedule. Okay. So first up, they get UL Monroe at home. That's a win, 1-0. Then they get Alabama at home. DRK is going to be rocking. It's not going to matter, though. Alabama is going to be too good. It's going to be one of the best teams that they've had in a very long time. And Alabama's had some great teams, all-time great. This is going to be an all-time great team. And Alabama will beat Texas by at least 2 touchdowns. So we're looking at 1-1. Then they get UTSA at home. That's a losable game, guys. But I'll give Texas the benefit of the doubt. It's at home. It's a group of 5. I don't know, guys. That's an in-state thing, too. And UTSA is going to be pretty good. What do y'all think? Should I be nice and give them the win, or is that going to be an upset? I don't know. That's about. I'm going to go with 50-50. That's a toss-up, 50-50. I'm gonna go half on that one. So we're still at 1-1. We'll come back to UTSA. All right. At Texas Tech, I think they win on the road to Texas Tech. I don't think Texas Tech is going to be good at all. Total rebuild for the Red Raiders. I don't understand their decision-making. Texas Tech's decision-making reminds me of Texas's decision-making. What do I mean? Well, Tom Herman had one slip-up year, 8-5, after that 10-win season, right? Then the year after that, he goes 7-3 in a COVID year. That was a great year, and you could see Texas turning a corner, and they fired Tom Herman. That was a bonehead decision. What happens in 2021? Steve Sarkisian, he's going to be the savior of Texas, except he's not because you're an idiot. As far as the higher-ups, the boosters, you're all idiots. You have no idea what you're looking at. I know for a fact that they knew that they were headed to the SEC, so that was an SEC decision. Let's see, we're headed to the SEC. Steve Sarkisian, he has some SEC experience. That'll help ease us into the SEC. No. That's not how it works. Ask West Virginia with Dana Holgorsen. Dana Holgorsen was a Big 12 decision because West Virginia knew we were going to go to the Big 12. Dana Holgorsen's a Big 12 guy, so he'll ease us into the Big 12 and we'll be just fine. That's not how it worked out. West Virginia got off to a red-hot start, 5-0, top 5 ranking. Yes, surprising. In 2012, West Virginia got all the way up to number 5 after starting the season 5-0. But we finished the season 7-5 because we didn't have a defense. And Dana Holgorsen set West Virginia football back 10 years. 10 freaking years. That was a terrible hire. Yes, we had some great offenses under Dana Holgorsen, but we never had a defense. We never had a legitimate shot of winning a Big 12 title because our defenses were horrible. And he set our recruiting back. I don't even like talking about Dana Holgorsen. Point is, that hire was based on West Virginia going to the Big 12. Texas did the same exact stupid thing, even though they didn't. Look at precedents, guys. Why can't people look at precedents? Texas, you're thinking about hiring an unproven coach just because he came out of SEC. And it literally just happened to West Virginia, and you forgot already? And immediately they go 5-7 and miss a bowl. Unbelievable. All right, I got off on a rabbit trail, but I had to say something about that because Texas Tech did the same thing. They fired Matt Wells after Texas Tech looked like they were actually turning a corner. They were 5-2, one game away from a bowl whenever they fired Matt Wells. Do you know how many more games they won after Matt Wells? 1. They barely got to a bowl. 1. So, yeah, oh my gosh, that was... And so Texas Tech is back to rebuild, and that's why I think Texas will win. All right, so now we're looking at 2-1. Then they get West Virginia at home. Being at DRK will give Texas a chance, but West Virginia is going to be definitely a better defense than Texas and a much improved offense. Last year, West Virginia had to keep opponents under, 24 points a game for us to even have a shot, and they were able to keep teams under 25 points. Problem is, our offense scored like 23-20. It was awful. Defense was amazing. We were lucky if we scored 3 touchdowns per game. Well, this coming year, that's going to completely change. We'll average at least 30 points a game, probably 40 several times, which last year, I don't think we broke 40 one time last year. Not one time. So that's a loss for Texas for sure. I'm not sweating that at all. So you're looking at 2-2 with a half against UTSA. Then they get Oklahoma in Dallas. That's more of a coin flip than people realize because that's early in the season. Oklahoma has a new coaching staff. They lost both of their starting quarterbacks. So I know they have Dylan Gabriel, but Dylan Gabriel is not used to being a Power 5 quarterback just yet. So that's your other half. So with half at the UTSA, half at Oklahoma, that washes out to a 3-3. So they're looking at 3-3. They get Iowa State at home. I think Iowa State's a 7-5 team. I'll give Texas the win there. So they're looking at 4-3. At Oklahoma State, that is a loss. That is a huge loss. You're losing by at least 2 touchdowns. So 4-4. Then you get your bye week. Then back on the road to Kansas State. That's a loss. Kansas State's going to be sneaky next year. Sneaky Big 12 contender. So that's a loss. So now you're looking at 4-5, right? 4-5. TCU at home, that's a win. 5-5. At Kansas, they beat you last year. It is on the road. Kansas is going to be better. What do y'all think? I don't want to be a homer here because I'm horns down every day. I want to pick rationally because I am predicting Texas to win that last game at Baylor. So y'all help me out. Do they lose on the road to Kansas? Because the difference here is making a bowl or not making a bowl. So you're either going 5-7 again or 6-6. No, Texas does not beat Baylor. If I said that, then that was a mistake. They lose to Baylor. My fault if I said that. They definitely lose to Baylor. So they're looking at 5-7 or 6-6. You know what? I'm going to say, I don't know whether it's the Kansas game or the Oklahoma game or a UTS game. Maybe they win a game that they're not supposed to win. And I'll give Texas the benefit of that. They go 6-6 and they limp into a bowl. Is that what you're looking for, Texas fans, as you're about to go into the SEC? And that's me being generous, guys. Six and 6 is me being generous to Texas. They could very well be 5-7 or 4-8. At most, ceiling 7-5. That's if everything falls together and you upset some people. 7-5. I just don't see it happening. So I'll be generous and say 6-6. That's not good. So Texas goes 6-6, right? What about Steve Sarkisian? Do they keep him? After 5-7 and 6-6, or heck, let's say that they upset some people and go 7-5. All right, 7-5. 5-7 and 7-5. Is that good enough to keep Steve? Although I really like 6-6. I'm going to stick with 6-6. I don't think so, especially with the impatience that Texas has. No, they're not keeping him. So now you're looking at a Texas who's going to break in another new head coach heading into the SEC when all they had to do was keep Tom Herman. I'm telling you, Tom Herman had that team turning around. He did. He got punished. Okay, so Tom Herman got punished because he had that letdown year in 2019, 8-5. That's what he got punished for, okay? Because in 2018, they had that 10-win season, and they beat Georgia. I think it was in the Sugar Bowl. That was 2018. So 2019 rolls around, and he goes 8-5. That was the death knell. And then the year after, 7-3. There's no way anybody would fire a coach going 7-3 in the COVID year. That just doesn't make sense. So to me, they were still holding that 8-5 thing over Tom Herman's head and said 7-3 is not good enough. Holding the 8-5, 7-3 doesn't make up for the 8-5. Bye-bye, you're gone. By the way, we already knew we were going to the SEC, so we're bringing an SEC guy. Man, Texas messed up bad. That was a huge mess up. Set yourself back probably another 10 years. Just dumb. Just dumb. By the way, if you'd like to support Golden Blue Dude financially or monetarily, there is the super chat button down there on your bottom right. It's that little dollar sign. Guarantees that I read your comment and supports the show. We appreciate it. We do this full time, so it helps keep the show going, helps pay the bills. Greatly appreciated. And Joey also puts the link to the PayPal in the description as well. Any little bit helps him. We greatly appreciate it. So yeah, Texas, bad decisions, headed into the SEC. That Texas might be looking at worst case scenario going into the SEC. Like worst case scenario, you're coming off a 6-6, or maybe you miss a bowl again. You just fire your head coach who you hired because you were going to the SEC, and you fired a head coach that had your team or your football program turning around in the process of turning around. I mean, that's how bad that decision was. So Texas looking at worst case scenario going to the SEC. I mean, do they go like 4-8 in their first year in the SEC? Maybe 3-9. I mean, I guess that depends on who they play in the out of conference game. But I just don't. With the bad decisions that Texas makes, I don't see them. I don't see them doing very well in the SEC, especially in the first year. That's not happening. I mean, 5 years from now, who knows? You can never tell. But if the trend continues and Texas keeps making horrible decisions, then yeah, I would say even 5 years from now, they're going to be a doormat in the SEC, making a buttload of money. Even though they already make a buttload of money. That was another thing that I talked about in one of my videos. The only thing that Texas is picking up from going to the SEC is stiffer competition. Think about it. Okay? So the two arguments for why Texas chose to go to the SEC, number one, more money. For what? They already make a crap ton of money. What's another $100 million a year going to actually do for them? All they're going to do is blow it and make bad decisions. The other thing, recruiting. Again, they already recruit an elite level. They're guaranteed a top 20 class every year. Most of the time, they're a top 10 class and sometimes a top 5. Okay, let's say that the SEC guarantees them a top 5 class. I did the research. There was, let's see, it was either 2 or 3 years back to back. They had the number 3 recruiting class, and those were the years that they didn't have the 10-win season. I think it was the 8-5 season, whatever they did. The 8-5, the 7-3, maybe it was one of them was the 10-win season. But the thing is, 3 top 3 recruiting classes in a row. I have to look at the exact years for that one. I do know there was 3 top 3 in a row, and they did nothing with it. So you might be right. Well, you are right. Texas will get more money to blow on who knows what to make bad decisions and have a better recruiting advantage. I mean, maybe slightly because they already have recruiting advantage over everybody. They don't own the state of Texas, but they do very well in the state of Texas. It's them and Texas A&M. That's it. That's it. And stiffer competition. That's the biggest thing, guys. Stiffer competition. So more money to make more bad decisions. Maybe guaranteed a top 5 recruiting class instead of top 10. So maybe one more 5-star a year. And a crap ton more competition. Like you're going to have your Ole Miss, your Alabama, keep Oklahoma. That'll be an every year thing. You'll have LSU, Georgia, Arkansas. Heck, even Mississippi State is better than probably half of what the Big 12 was last year. Georgia in the East. South Carolina, Kentucky, and Tennessee going to be much better this year. They're up and coming. Florida's not going to stay down forever. Don't forget about Missouri. They have higher expectations than I realized. They're just having a couple down years. If Eric Drinkwitz doesn't have at least an 8-4 season this year, he will be fired from Missouri, by the way. Maybe 9-3 might be the basement because they have higher expectations than I realized. I looked at their records past 20 years. Missouri's used to success, so he better deliver this year. So point was, Missouri's not going to stay down. Texas got, and you could have stayed in the Big 12 and owned it like you do. All you had to do in the Big 12 is stick with Tom Herman, and you would have owned the Big 12 for years to come. Seriously, powerhouse. I saw that turn being made. When they fired Tom Herman, I about swallowed my tongue. Number one, why? Number two, yes, they're stupid, and we're going to beat them again. That's how I reacted to Texas firing Tom Herman. It was tough to beat, as a West Virginia fan, it was tough to beat Texas under Tom Herman. I remember, what was it 2019 when they came to Morgantown? Morgantown, hostile environment. They came in and beat the brakes off of us. Tom Herman was a good coach at Texas, even though he had a letdown year at 8-5. Sometimes you just got to swallow those letdown years. Otherwise, you make stupid decisions, and now you can't even make a bowl. Which would you rather have, Texas? A letdown year or not make a bowl? See what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. They don't make sense. I'm glad they don't make sense. I'm glad they make bad decisions. But Texas fans, y'all should not be excited to be going into the SEC. You shouldn't. I'm telling you right now. Like I said earlier, biggest blowback that I get from Texas fan, that's wrong, GBD. When we go to the SEC, we'll be able to recruit better. Maybe, but not by that much, because you already recruit at a high level. So you get what? One more 5-star every year? Is that worth getting stomped every year, year in and year out? If I was a Texas fan, I would not be happy about it based on the decisions that Texas has made the past 10 years. Just not good at it. I'm not saying that Texas going to the SEC is a bad move. In general, that's a good move. But the fact that their boosters and the higher ups make bad decisions, then going to the SEC is a bad decision. If your boosters and your higher ups made good decisions, then that's a great decision to go to the SEC. But since they make bad decisions, it's a bad decision to go to the SEC. Sorry. Jeff Graham, you picked Jimbo as a true Mountaineer, not Saban. Absolutely. I'm glad you actually brought that up. 100%. As far as a coach, Nick Saban is better than Jimbo Fisher. Hands down, no question. But as a true Mountaineer, Jimbo is much more of a true Mountaineer. Nick Saban has come out and said he avoids going back to West Virginia. He said when he left West Virginia, he said he would never come back. Doesn't even like visiting the state. Look, I moved out of West Virginia. I live in the upstate of South Carolina. I probably won't move back to West Virginia just because of the economics. I have a bigger family now. It's tougher to make a living up there. I love the state. It's the haves and the haves not. And with Saban, of course, he would be the have. So he doesn't have an excuse. He could go back up there and be fine. But he trash talks the state, says he would never go back up there, said once he left the state, he swore he would never go back. Jimbo still has a house in West Virginia. Jimbo visits West Virginia at least 4 or 5 times a year, maybe more. And I'm not talking about driving through the state or maybe popping in for a recruit visit. Dude still loves the state of West Virginia. So yes, as far as comparing true Mountaineer versus true Mountaineer, in case people don't know, both of those guys are from West Virginia. Saban is from Fairmont, and Jimbo is from Clarksburg. And as far as true Mountaineers go, Jimbo is 100% more of a true Mountaineer. I wouldn't even say more of a true Mountaineer. I would say true Mountaineer, period, and Saban is not. There is there's no comparison, to be honest with you. There's no comparison. Nick Saban is not a true Mountaineer, and Jimbo Fisher is a true Mountaineer. End of story. End of argument. And I'll actually, I'm actually going to talk about that later this week. I'm glad you brought that up. Because that whole back and forth thing between Jimbo and Nick Saban really kind of put a black eye on West Virginia, to be honest with you. Now, do I agree with how Jimbo reacted to the Nick Saban comment? No, that was, oh man, it made me cringe so bad because as a true West Virginia, as a true Mountaineer, I support him that way. But I don't think Jimbo's a good coach. So that's two separate arguments, all right? Y'all don't get that out of context or flip-flop things. Nick Saban, of course, head and shoulders a better coach than Jimbo. Head and shoulders, no doubt. All right? But as far as true Mountaineer goes, it has to go to Jimbo, hands down. Now, as far as the argument goes, Nick Saban told the truth, all right? He told the truth. Problem is, what didn't make sense is what he said everybody does. Like the NIL, pay for play, everybody does that. So what I don't agree with is how he called out certain people. He called out Jimbo, of course, and he called out Dion. Like everybody's doing. There was no need to nitpick and point out at somebody. I understand he did it for a reason. He was at the booster convention and he was trying to get more booster money so they could get their level up. But you knew that was going to get leaked, and boom, there goes a friendship. However, I don't think that should have cost a friendship. I don't think that should cost a friendship. So that one's on Jimbo. I think he overreacted, and he straight up lied. I can't defend Jimbo on that argument. He straight up lied. Dude, you did buy those players, all right? Why are you lying about it? It's not against the law. It's not cheating. You're fine. You're not breaking any rules. There are no rules right now. So why you lied about that? I don't know. I understand that you were mad that you got singled out or whatever, but everybody understands that everybody's doing it. So that's the part that I didn't understand about that whole back and forth. No, Nick Saban didn't need to single anybody out. He didn't. That was not necessary. But Jimbo, his reaction did. Oh my gosh, it didn't make any sense. I didn't understand it. He flat out lied. And Nick Saban lied. Nick Saban lied too. They both freaking lied. Why? Why are we lying about this? There's no point in lying about it. Everybody knows what's going on right now. It's college football. That's what I was talking about, giving West Virginia a black eye. You lied, and you're going back and forth, and that cost a friendship. Nonsense. Sheer nonsense. Made no sense. That argument shouldn't have happened. And there's no need to lie. There's so many stupid things about that argument. I can probably do a video that can point out every single stupid thing about that argument, because there's enough content. Not what they argue about. That's separate. I've already done a video on what they argued about, all right? That's gone in the past. I'm talking about every stupid thing about the argument. Lies. It costed a friendship. It gave West Virginia a black eye because they did lie and they were going back and forth. Dramatic. It made no sense. And singling people out, that was not necessary. You knew Jimbo was a friend. Nick Saban, here's what that boils down to. Why it started. Nick Saban was mad that Texas A&M's recruiting class jumped so high and they lost. That argument boiled down to 11 5-stars. 11 5-stars, okay? What do I mean by that? 11 5-stars, okay? So Texas A&M jumped from, what was it, 1 5-star to 8 5-stars, which is 7. So that's 7 5-stars, all right? So you're jumping from 1 to 8. There's 7 right there. I'm not done. Alabama fell from 7 to 3. No, 4. Sorry. What was it? 7 to, I think it was 3 actually. Yeah, 7 to 3 because it was 11. Yeah, Alabama's 5-star fell from 7 to 3. So you had the jump from Texas A&M 1 to 8. That's 7. Okay, let's do the math. And then for Alabama, they dropped from 7 to 3. That's 4. 7 plus 4 is 11. And that's what that argument was about. 11 5 stars. 11 5 stars. And 11 5, okay, here we go. 11 5 stars caused somebody to call out their friend, lifelong friend. 11 5 stars caused Nick Saban to lie. 11 5 stars caused Jimbo Fisher to lie. 11 5 stars cost flat out friendship. Flat out friendship. 11 5 stars did all that damage. All that damage. I don't understand it, guys. And it makes me sad too because, listen, I'm from West Virginia. I have a YouTube channel, and every time I promote this thing in Facebook groups or whatever social media platform, I'm immediately behind the 8 ball because Golden Blue Dude is from West Virginia, so he's a moron. He don't know what he's talking about. Anybody from West Virginia is a toothless, inbred meth head who knows nothing about anything. So I'm automatically behind the 8 ball whenever I make a video and I promote it, okay? On top of that, you have 2 elite coaches, both from the state of West Virginia, going at it in press conferences and social media. I can't catch a break, guys. I can't catch a freaking break as far as credibility goes. Being from West Virginia has really has doubled my work. That's the best way I can put it. Being from West Virginia has made me have to double my work when it comes to YouTube because I'm telling you guys, I am constantly having to try to prove that I'm not a total moron. I'm not trying to prove that I'm like some great YouTuber or that I know everything about college football. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about proving that I'm not an inbred, toothless meth head. That's what I have to prove on a daily basis. I have to prove that I'm not an inbred, toothless meth head. And then crap like that happens, and my workload just doubled. Thank you, Nick Saban, and thank you, Jimbo Fisher. Now I got to work even more to prove that I'm not a complete moron. And that doesn't mean that I'm not right, that I'm not wrong sometimes. Of course, I'm a human. But I do get some things right. But being from West Virginia makes people think that I'm never right. I don't know what I'm talking about. My texts are horrible, and I'm a buffoon. And they never go by my record either. Like, hindsight is always 20/20, right? That's what they say. Hindsight's always 20/20. So whenever I make new predictions that people are like, that you're way off on that, Golden Blue Dude. That's not happening. They forget that they said the same exact freaking thing last year, and it actually happened. By the way, everybody that's new in the chat, please hit the like button. I've said this. This is the 3rd time I'm saying it in the live show. I said it at the beginning, in the middle, and you can ask the people that hit the like button earlier. It definitely helps. It definitely grows the video. So everybody that's new in the live chat, please hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Either way, hits the YouTube algorithm, gets us suggested more people come in. We're up to 60 watching at one time. So there you go, guys. You're seeing your hard work pay off. All right, back onto nude predictions. No, I did not say nude predictions. Now you're really going in left field, Joey. Although that YouTube channel would probably succeed if somebody had nude predictions, to be honest with you. Anyways, let's get back on topic real quick. So I make these predictions that people are like, man, that's off the wall. And I promise you, I do my research. It might seem like it's off the wall, but I look at matchups, who's coming back, who's leaving, who might be better, who might be worse, last year's schedule versus this year's schedule. There's a lot that goes into it. I'm not throwing darts and seeing who hits the bullseye this year. Let's see who's going to be good this year. That's not how it works, guys. All right, so here we go. New predictions this year. People disagree, and that's fine. But then they go on to say, you're an idiot, you're a moron, you have no idea what you're talking about. Well, it's because you didn't watch last year's videos, or you did watch last year's video and you forget. And I'm even talking to you, Uncle Lou. I'm even talking to you. What am I talking about, right? Okay, I brought up Uncle Lou. Last year, maybe this will ring a bell, Uncle Lou. Last year, And it was a live call-in show. This happened on an Uncle Lou live call-in show at night. I predicted live on the air on his call-in show that Stanford would upset number 14 USC. Do you remember your response, Uncle Lou? Because it's burned into my brain. It is burned into my brain. So I called into Uncle Lou's night show, which by the way, I actually enjoy Uncle Lou's YouTube channel. If you're one of the few human beings who likes college football and you're not subbed to his channel, what are you thinking? Go sub to his channel. But anyways, so I call into Uncle Lou's live show, right? This is his evening show where he does call-ins. And we're talking about predictions. And one of my predictions was I thought Stanford was going to upset number 14 USC. I thought it was a bad matchup for USC. I thought USC was being overhyped. So it wasn't really a guess. I was very confident. And so here's what Uncle Lou's response was. He said, yeah, if you're addicted to losing money, you know what the funny thing about that is? If people would have used that pick as a bet, they would have actually won pretty good bit of money because Stanford was a pretty, I mean, not like an overwhelming underdog, but enough of an underdog to where if you would have took Stanford on the money line, you would have made some money. So on that particular one, it was the opposite of, because I'm honestly not addicted to losing money. It's quite the opposite. But yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday. All right, Ryan. Hopefully, I'm saying your last name right. I think I am, because I think you corrected me before. Anyways, Ryan McCullich, 499 super chat. Appreciate that, bud. He says, I'm going to say does. I think does looks better. Does Oklahoma's schedule... Oh, no, wait. I read that wrong. My bad. You're right. Do Oklahoma's schedule. So it's not a question. He's telling me. Do Oklahoma's schedule. You can be harsh. I'm not expecting, I'm guessing you're saying expecting an amazing year. All right. You know what? I like this idea. This is a new idea. If you want me to predict your team's schedule live on the air right now, super chat. I like it. Great idea. Yes, I will run through your schedule real quick. Give me 1 second. Great idea, by the way. Great idea. All right, let's look at Oklahoma's football schedule. Which, by the way, I'm not saying Oklahoma's going to be horrendous this year, but there's going to be some growing pains. And I think Dylan Gabriel's going to have to kind of get into the groove of a Power 5. He looked like a pretty decent group of 5 quarterback, but we all know it's a whole different animal. But you never know. Maybe their schedule sets up nice. You never know. By the way, this is not my official preview and prediction video, so don't get it twisted. This is just off the hip. Haven't done all that much research yet, so this is off the hip, just kind of eyeballing it, okay? First game for Oklahoma, OU, Boomer Sooner, UTEP at home. UTEP's going to be a decent Power 5 team, but I think that's a win. Yeah. Kent State at home, big win. So you're looking at 2-0. At Nebraska. Nebraska was, I agree with people for the most part. Nebraska was probably the best 3-9 team of all time last year because all but one of their losses was by 1 possession. And the only loss that wasn't by 1 possession was against Ohio State, and that was by 9 points, all right? So at Nebraska, sorry, Ryan, but that's a loss. So 2-1. Then you get Kansas State at home. That one's tough. All right. So if that was on the road, I would definitely pick Kansas State, but it is at home. But the thing is, Kansas State has had Oklahoma's number. I'm going to say half. We'll come back to that. That's in half. That's a half. So we're looking at 2-1 now, okay? At TCU, that's a win. 3-1. Texas, Red River rivalry. I'm going to go Oklahoma. I know it's a coin flip. That's a rivalry, but I think you're better than Texas. So we're looking at what, 4-1? Yeah, 4-1. Kansas at home, easy, 5-1. Then your bye week at Iowa State. So I'll say that's the other half. So between Kansas State and Iowa State, that's a loss. So we're looking at what, 6-2 now? Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6-2. So we're looking at 6-2. All right. Baylor at home. I'm going to say half. I'm going to come back to that. At West Virginia, I think that's a loss this year. I think West Virginia. This is the year West Virginia beats Oklahoma. Oklahoma is new coaching staff. By the way, is it Talkis Pitt? Hold on. It's either Talkis Pitt or John Waffle. Hold on. John Waffle, I'll get to your super chat here in just a second. Hold on. So we're at 6-2 now. Baylor at home, that's a half. I'm going to come back to that. At West Virginia, that's a loss. So we're looking at 6-3. Oklahoma State at home, that's the other half. So Baylor and Oklahoma State, both at home. I think you win one, lose one. So we're looking at 7-4 at Texas Tech. That's a win. So off the top of my head, shooting from the hip, I would say 8-4. So you're going to be looking at an 8-4 or a 9-3 year. I think your ceiling would be 10 wins, and your floor 7-5. But that would have to be if the wheels completely fall off. So I'm sticking with 8-4, 9-3, most likely. Ceiling at 10-2 if you beat some teams that I didn't see you beating, and wheels come off, bottom of the barrel basement, 7-5. But not a playoff team or anything like that. All right, so John Waffle, H2P. As you can tell by the title, he is a Pitt fan. But I do appreciate his financial contribution, $9.99 Super Chat. Here's what he has to say. The story with Nick Saban was he apparently used to like West Virginia as a child. But after his father told him no, he went to Kent State instead. Brief explanation. Said no. I don't know this story, so I don't. Said no to what? Said no to him coming back? The story with Nick. Let me reread this again. Okay. The story with Nick Saban was he apparently used to like West Virginia as a child. All right. So as a child, he liked West Virginia. But after his father told him no to what? He went to Kent State instead. Brief explanation. I just need to know what he said no to. That's the only thing I don't understand all that. But I kind of understand what you're saying. Basically because of his dad, he's not going to go back to West Virginia. But what did he say no to? Is that like a joke? Or you set me up for something? Are you trolling? Which is fine, but explain it. If that's a troll, explain your troll is what I'm saying. All right. So anyways, anybody else, if you want me to do a quick season preview or prediction live on the live stream, just send a super chat. It's that $sign down there on the bottom right, and I will gladly read your comment and do a quick season prediction for you. I don't know about y'all, but I've had fun on this show. I've had a lot of fun. All right, so. Oh, by the way, if you haven't hit the like button, please do so. It helps with the video. We've been in the 60s for a while, so great show. A lot of viewers today, and it's all because you guys hit the like button. I'm just here rambling, so I'm not really contributing to the video. For whatever reason, you are sticking around. I appreciate that, but all I'm doing is rambling. So the reason we're in the 60s is because of you hitting the like button. And no, Kansas State will not suck this year. In fact, I think Kansas State is a sleeper team this year. Hold on just a second. Hold on. I got a PayPal alert. So if there's a comment in this, I want to make sure. If the stupid phone will, like, right when I want to load it, that's when it's slow. Every other time it's like super fast. But the one, okay, here we go. No. Whoa. There's no message. Whoa. Making sure there's no message attached to this. I'm blown away by this, guys. Like, all right, how many of y'all know the YouTuber Ryan Hall? He is a huge, and I mean huge, weather YouTuber. If you like weather, if you're upset, look, I'm obsessed with two things in this world: college football and the weather. That was the two, when I was in high school, those were two things that I wanted to be when I grew up: meteorologist or a sports anchor. Well, I ended up having to have an emergency surgery while I was in college, so the meteorology thing didn't pan out. And then, of course, you got to know the right people or go back to college for sportscasting. YouTube thing is working out. Let me get back to this, but first, thank you, KP, for the $4.99 super chat. USC season breakdown. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I was hoping for. I will gladly do that for you. He says, he or she, I can't tell by the YouTube thing. Hold on. I'm actually excited about that super chat. I was hoping somebody would ask for USC. Anyways, they say, I think Notre Dame versus USC is going to determine a playoff spot. I'm not sure about that, but it's a good game. For one of the teams, fight on. 1, 2, 3, 4, fight on signs. I got you. I'll get to it. John Waffle H2P, another super chat. Pitt fan supporting the channel. I love it. $4.99. I don't know the full story, but I heard his father hated West Virginia WVU. Oh, okay. Yes, I've heard that. I don't know the reason, but I'm going to look into that and do a video. I'm actually glad you brought that up. I've heard about Nick Saban's father's disdain for WVU. I don't know why, but I'm going to look into it. Great video content. All right, back to the PayPal real quick. Ryan Hall, great weather YouTuber. I found him probably, I don't know, maybe 8-9 months ago. This is when his channel was first starting out. He was well under 100,000 subscribers. I think he was under 50,000. Now he's over, I think he's over 500,000 subscribers now. Massive YouTube channel. I strongly encourage y'all, if you like weather, to subscribe to Ryan Hall, y'all. He does live events, covers all major severe weather outbreaks, and does the best forecasts. Dude is better than Weather Channel. Local news, hits it nail on the head every time. Ryan Hall, go hit the sub. But anyways, so I've been subbed to this guy's channel for probably 8 or 9 months, and I'm trying to figure out if he sent me a message to read, but I don't see it. What I do see is he sent me $125 through PayPal. So Ryan, if you're watching, man, or maybe I'm getting it mistaken and it's Ryan McCulloch and it's Ryan Hall, but I don't know. That's a big coincidence. I think that's the Ryan Hall from the YouTube channel, because I've talked to him before and I love his stuff. So hopefully you're watching, man, and that's awesome. Next time if you want to send money, send me a comment and I'd gladly read it, because that was pretty awesome. Appreciate that. USC. That's right. USC. Here we go. USC schedule. Let's look into it. Which it's a pretty decent schedule. I think Notre Dame's schedule is tougher than usual. I think Notre Dame is going to have a few more losses than what Notre Dame fans think they're going to have. Fair warning, Notre Dame fans. All right, here we go. USC. Off the top of my head, haven't really researched it. Shooting off the hip. Here we go. Rice at home. Oh, by the way, I got that wrong. That call-in that I did for Uncle Lou, it was actually at USC. It was Stanford at USC. So a lot of people were calling me crazy. It wasn't just you, Uncle Lou, but the reason I brought that up is it was burned into my brain, the response you gave me. Yeah, if you're addicted to losing money. So, anyways, this year it's a road trip to Stanford, and this year USC will beat Stanford. Stanford's defense is good enough to hold a bad USC offense. They're not good enough to hold a good USC offense. So being on the road, not going to matter. 2-0. Fresno State at home. This is not a give me win. All right. This is not a gimme. Not a gimme. Not a gimme. Is that right? Joey Foster, is it Rhino 26? Is that what you're saying? If that was somebody else besides the Ryan Hall that I'm thinking, please speak up. If you were the person that sent that 125, please speak up. I would like to thank you. But from what I saw from PayPal, it was the Ryan Hall from YouTube. Until somebody says otherwise. Anyways, so we're at 2-0. Fresno State at home. Not a gimme win, but I'm going to say a hard-fought win. It's at USC. Crowd's going to be pumped. Going to be a night game. We're in the Pac-12. 3-0. At Oregon State. If Oregon State was a good team, could be a loss. Oregon State's going to be average. They might get to a bowl. I mean, something crazy would have to happen for them to lose that. No, that's a win. 4-0. Arizona State at home. Arizona State taking a step back this year. 5-0. Washington State at home. Washington State not going to be good this year. 6-0. Undefeated. On the road to Utah. Sorry, Trojan fans. There's your first loss. So we're looking at 6-1. Look, Utah is going to be just as good, if not better, than what they were last year. That's a loss. And it's on the road. If it was at USC, then maybe I'd switch over to USC. I still think, dollar for dollar, Utah's the better team. Going on the road, Trojans lose. So we're looking at 6-1 now. Bye week at Arizona. 7-1. Easy. Cal at home. 8-1. Colorado at home. 9-1. At UCLA. That's a loss. Sorry, UCLA is the sleeper. 9-2. Notre Dame at home. That's a win. Rivalry. I think you'll be better. 10-2. So even if some of those flip-flop and say you lose to Notre Dame and beat UCLA, or you flip-flop Utah, or 10-2, I actually like that. Even I might flip the wins and losses, but I like what I'm seeing there. 10-2. No, Notre Dame does not beat USC this year. Sorry, Notre Dame fans. I have y'all going like 9-3 or 8-4. You're losing on the road to USC. That's the bottom line. I'm not backing off of that one, by the way. 10-2. Here's the thing. I think UCLA, it changes the game that the Pac-12 got rid of divisions. Here's why. Now it's going to be the two best teams. And I don't think Colorado is going to be a top 2 team. They might be top 4, top 3, but they're not going to be top 2. So here's what we're looking at. We're going to be looking at 2 Pac-12 South teams in the Pac-12 championship. I don't know if it's going to be Utah and UCLA. I don't know if it's going to be Utah and USC. I don't know if it's going to be UCLA and USC. But the Pac-12 championship, mark this down, guys. The Pac-12 championship is going to be between 2 Pac-12 South teams. All right? And I like 10-2. I'll do more research. Maybe, that road trip to Oregon State pops out, and that's a loss. But from shooting from the hip, I like 10-2. That could fluctuate to a 9-3 or an 8-4. We'll see. But I don't know. I think their schedule sets up well. I do. Tough road trips to Utah and UCLA, but that's it. Every other Every other game that they need to be at home is at home. That's it. So that's why I like 10-2. Notre Dame could be the one that I'm maybe wrong about. I don't think Notre Dame's going to be like better than a 9-3. I think that's like best case scenario for Notre Dame. So that's just my feelings at the moment. It could change whenever I do research. It could change, but at the moment, yeah, I'm going with that. Sorry, I'm making sure I didn't miss any super chats. All right, guys. This show ran long because I had a crap ton of fun. By the way, I hope y'all had as much fun as I did because I had a ton of fun. Uncle Lou stopping by. Utah fans, USC fans, Oklahoma fans. You guys were loud, proud, and you represented your team. And Notre Dame is not going 11-1. Sorry. No. And you're not baiting me into giving you a free preview of your team on the live show. I'll do it on a video, but not on a live show because that would be breaking my own rules. So I'm not going to get baited into that. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Went longer than usual, which is fine because I had a crap ton of fun. One of our best live shows, guys. And remember what I said at the beginning. If you hit the like button, it will grow. I'm just here rambling. I can't do anything to make the video grow myself. That's on people to click on it. That's on, it to get recommended more. And you guys did the work, even though, hitting the like button is simple, fast, easy, and free. But I don't think people push that enough on their live show, and it helps out so much. It doesn't just help me out. It helps you guys out too because, it'll give you a sense of accomplishment. You see the fruits of your labor. Joey says the message with that PayPal was from Ryan26. Is that Rhino or Ryan? Oh, there was a message to it. Okay, I got you. Not a huge fan, GBD, but much respect on where your channel is headed, Boomer. That's fair, honest and fair. He's not a huge fan of the channel, which is fine. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but much respect for where the channel is headed. I appreciate that. That was well said. You were honest and still respectful, and I appreciate that. I don't know why I didn't see the message on there. I'm trying to look for it, but yeah, greatly appreciate the support. Awesome. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep being myself. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not changing, so we'll see. Well, I'm going to head out of here, guys. I don't usually do live shows on Monday evening. Usually they're set for Wednesdays and Fridays. But I had a good reaction tonight, so we might pull it back to Mondays. Maybe people just like talking about college football more on Mondays. Maybe Friday and Monday. I think that feels pretty good. You got Friday to end the week and Monday to begin the week. It kind of makes sense, don't it? Kind of makes sense. By the way, before I get off here, June 24th, mark this down. If you heard nothing else in this show, listen right now. June 24th, 8-hour live show, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. I've already got Mark Rogers coming on. I got the controversial JCP outlaw of college football coming on. Reaching out to Pigskin Pete, reaching out to Uncle Lou, who was in the chat. We're going to have about 8 to 10 entertaining guests on the live show. So mark it on your calendar, June 24th, 1. Yes, I will get Coos. I got you. He's coming. That goes without saying. 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And those of you that are coming on the live show, I need your response as soon as possible so that I can mark the time. Because once somebody claims a time slot, I'm giving people 20 to 30 minutes. So say you want the 1:30 slot and somebody else wants it, whoever calls the 131st gets it first. So the sooner you get back with me, the sooner I can save it, and that way nobody else can grab it up. So there you go. All right, guys, I'm going to head out of here. I hope y'all had a great time. I had a great time. If I don't see you before Friday, the next live show will be Friday. We'll do a live Patreon show tomorrow, probably around 6 o'clock. Quick explanation, difference between Patreon show and a live show. Basically, because the Patreon live show is a smaller audience, because there's fewer people on the Patreon page than there is on the regular show. The difference is I can actually give more of my inside information, stuff that I can't say on the regular live show. So if you're ever wondering some of the perks of being a Patreon member, which membership starts as low as $2 a month. $2 a month. That's like change you can find in your ashtray or cracks of your couch. $2 a month. We got some good perks and discounts for the merchandise store. We got a lot of great stuff over there, and we're revamping the live store because it's gotten a little scattered. So we need to get a little bit more narrow-minded and have an avenue. So keep an eye out for that. But anyways, still rambling, still rambling. Y'all have a good week. I'll see you on Friday, and if you're a Patreon member, I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. for more exclusive college football content from yours truly, Golden Blue Dude. Hey, maybe I will do some nude predictions. I won't be nude, but maybe who will streak in the Notre Dame game, or the games that have the highest likelihood of a streaker, something like that. We'll see. Y'all have a great week. I'll see you on Friday.